Hi, welcome back to the Spirit's Path. This is Dee, and today's tarot card of the day out of the Wildwood Tarot deck is a Life Lessons card of the Stag, and he shows up out of the forest as you're sitting there talking with the Knight of Stones, the Knight of Arrows, the Queen of Stones, the King of Bows, and he pops his head out, and at first you're looking at it going, okay, is this another court card? You know, with the head of the kind of like the moose coming out. But then you notice he's half man and half animal. And he comes up and he talks with you and he says, you know what? You need to be conscious of your resources, okay? What you spend and what you bring in. Because what one reaps, one sows. And, there's a balance going on within the ecosystem, within the world, within your finances, within your emotional fortitude, within your creativity. And you have to keep that balance with going on, because if you go too much to the right, all right, it's going to offset the balance. If you go too much to the left, it's going to offset the balance. And, the court cards are sitting down here, the two knights, the queen and the king, and they're listening. Okay? All the court cards listen to the life lessons cards, the major arcana. All right? And you're sitting there and you're thinking, okay, what does that mean? Okay, yes, I feel like I've plateaued and I've got all these mentors down here guiding me, and now I have another one here for life lessons. But the karmic wheel, what this is saying is the karmic wheel of justice, all right, rules those concepts of right and wrong. And we have to be aware that our actions have consequences, okay? We're responsible for our actions, what we say, what we do, things that, are out there. It's kind of like that ripple effect. And we must be aware not only of our actions, but the consequences that come about with those actions. All right, now he's holding a shield, and it's a reminder for us to protect our natural resources. It's a reminder to protect what we have. Okay, and all the court cards are also protective cards, but the axe represents that attitude of the will to change the environment. Okay, we're given that free will to do whatever we want. Okay, if you want to go to the far right, go to the far right, but there's going to be consequences to that. If you want to go to the far left, go to the far left. There's going to be consequences to that. Use that in a relationship. You want to stray outside that relationship, there's going to be consequences down the line, right? If you want to, look at, a job change and your boss catches wind of it, there might be consequences on that. You may be taken off of a project, right? Things of that nature. So something's transpired, okay? And a realignment in your thought process, a realignment in how you're going about doing things is taking place. And how does that affect you? Well, the King of Bows is telling you it's affecting you this way. You're taking charge of where you want to go and what you want to be, okay? You're doing so with the logic and reasoning that's quick and subtle based on the hawk. But you're also being very protective in preserving, okay, what you do have, if it comes to finances, emotional stability, however you want to look at it, with the bear. And you are pushing through a little bit and, riding that horse for the next couple of days, letting that horse guide you, okay? And you're not being stubborn about it, okay? You're being open-minded, because the mirror showed you that there needs to be a perspective that you haven't looked at before. Maybe, step in somebody else's shoes, okay? And there's still that injustice where the money is weighing the same as the feather. So, as you're looking at all this, within the last week, you're taking that step back and you're saying, okay, I just need to walk the middle road right now. I don't need to go to the right. I don't need to go to the left. I just need to stay on my path. I need to stay focused. What's going on? Knowing that I'm protected, okay? Can I change the environment? Absolutely. Do I want to? At this point, maybe not. Right? I want to use the knowledge. I want to use the wisdom that I've gained over the last month, I want to use that creativity that I had in February, okay, and move forward at a nice steady pace. Okay, and when you do that, you become more responsible. And when you become more responsible, you gain some wisdom, you gain some knowledge. Okay, it's a time to welcome that justice, all right, with the fire of creation, with the waters of emotion, with the air of logic, and with, the earth of security, all right, and face the season that's coming upon you with honesty and integrity, and trust the universe has you, okay? The life lessons cards are all about courage and trust and gaining that knowledge. And, when you put your faith into the universe, when you put your faith into the life lessons cards, the major arcana, the stag, the magician, I can name them all. When you do that, okay, you open yourself up to a higher self, all right, to greater things that are out there for you. So that's today's message out of the Wildwood Tarot deck, the Stag. Hit that like button for me, subscribe to the channel, share it with others, and give me a thumbs up. And this is D for a Spirit's Path. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Take care, God bless, and stay safe, everybody.